Lost Grimoires 3 begins at the end of a story. A cataclysmic war between humans and elves is just wrapped up, and the player, taking on the role of the king's sister, is looking forward to a little normalcy returning to the kingdom. She wasn't bargaining on the king bringing back a souvenir from the campaign, however, one that will cause no end of trouble for the siblings, as well as their subjects. After a brisk opening to remind players how all of the game's systems work, this title uses the same gem-matching depiction of alchemy as the last game in the series. For example, a grand adventure is embarked upon, moving the character through a variety of locations which, while all remaining in a general forested setting, the developers managed to render as distinct and visually interesting areas. Now, the hidden object criteria. Not in the least. While the game doesn't offer many hidden object screens, those that appear are all top-notch. The developers have crafted some of the most naturalistic hidden object screens around and gone to extreme lengths to make sure that they're completely fair. There's no cheating of any kind in the design, and every location is utterly logical. Whether players are searching through a shelf of gems for the items they want, digging sections of a scale out of a closet, or picking glowing flowers from a garden, the screens are universally gorgeous. It's half and half this time, with 12 screens taking up equal space alongside construction, gathering, and the occasional fully justified list. It's always nice to see developers going the extra mile and actually asking players to find a large set of items that they'll need. Yet so few put in the effort. There are actually 2 instances of it here. In one, the player is asked to gather provisions before a trip and finds themselves snatching specific foodstuffs in a kitchen. In the other, the player has to find a set of common alchemical ingredients to complete her kit. It's actually a little strange. The alchemy refill screen is also a mosaic screen for some reason, with the player asked to grab a bunch of symbol tiles from underneath the items they needed. This is especially peculiar when one pauses to wonder just how a wooden box tile can comfortably hide beneath a pipette. It's a well-told story this time, with an ancient threat controlling the minds of characters as their loved ones desperately struggle to find a way to defeat it. The narrative is especially concerned with the relationships between the characters, offering a flashback to an adventure that the main character and her brother had before the war began, as well as delving extensively into the villain's backstory. Not everything works. There's a twist that's telegraphed so obviously that I'm almost willing to spoil it here, and the exact nature and origin of the game's central threat goes largely unexplored, which is a pity, because a well with sinister intentions is a darn good premise. If I knew this was definitely going to be explained in a sequel, I'd be more willing to give it a pass, but this series has yet to offer more than one game starring the same characters. It's a good adventure game story, but with a little more depth and some tied up loose ends, it would have been a great one. There's a minigame about riding a horse towards a river, and it's handled with the standard swoop left and right to avoid obstacles structure. The very next sequence in the game has the player building a raft and heading downriver, which is represented with the exact same kind of dodging obstacles visual, only this time it's a cutscene, not a minigame. There isn't one, so no. Equal parts somber and thrilling, Lost Grimoires 3 succeeds whenever it lets players get close to its intriguing characters. The pivotal moment comes close to the end, which I won't spoil, except to say that the developers have found a way to meld hidden object gameplay with an extremely literal exploration of their character's mental state. The sequence works wonderfully, and I found myself hoping that the developers explore this concept further in their next game, whether it's a sequel to this one or not. The game displays most of the studio's normal polish, except for a couple of buggy messages. Occasionally when the player clicks on an active area, they'll be given the wrong prompt about what to do next. It's an annoyance, to be sure, but it's a credit to the clear and practical puzzle design that I never had any trouble solving the various object interaction puzzles, even without help from the main character's narration. This is a worthy entry in the series and another great casual experience from Worldloom Games and Artifex Mundi. This review is based on a copy of the game provided by the publisher. If you'd like to watch the playthrough which led to this review, just click on the rectangle that allows you to do that. See you back here for the next review, but until then, au revoir.